Hello everyone, welcome again. I promised you that I'll be coming up with the poem analysis in the next episode. This is the time to do that. Before we focus on a few important aspects of the poem, I would like you to go through the poem once again, or I would like to take you through the poem once again quickly and identify the important aspects and analyze them throughout the reading of the poem. Let us do that quickly. The schoolboy is already discussed in the previous episode, but I would like to do it in more detail today. You can see contrasting images here. A bird that is flying, a bird that is in the cage, and there is a school beside it. How are these things related? These things are related if you compare these things with the poem. This is an interesting poem. The boy, the speaker of the poem, loves to rise in a summer morning. He loves the birds chirping on every tree. He loves the distant huntsman blowing his musical instrument at some distance. He says, "The skylark sings with me." You must identify here. The boy is the primary singer, and the skylark sings with him. It only suggests that he has become one with nature, and the bird, his song, is almost merged. It suggests that the boy has involved so much in nature and enjoys every moment that he spends there. That is the reason why the boy calls it sweet company. Chirping birds on every tree, distant huntsman blowing his musical instrument, and the skylark singing. And all these put together became a beautiful morning for him, or it was a sweet company, as he calls it. But to go to school on a summer morning, that is the problem. The boy doesn't love to go to doesn't love to go to school on a summer morning because it takes away his joy. Oh, it drives all joy away, drive away. You can see the meaning here below. Forced to go away. But to go to school in a summer morning, oh, it drives all joy away. His joy is forced to go away from him. Why? Why is it so? He feels under a cruel eye outward. The little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. He has to go back to school from this beautiful summer morning, only to sit in a school under a strict supervision of a teacher. Little ones, small children, spend their time in school. How? Sighing, expressing tiredness, dismay, feeling of fear and discouragement. The children spend their time in school in a discouragement, in fear, in some kind of a tiredness. So, the boy says, then at times I drooping sit. The boy sits in the school, hanging his head down, spend many an anxious hour. He is tired, he is afraid. He spends tensed moments in school. He further says, "Nor in my book can I take delight." The boy says he doesn't find any interest in the textbooks. There is no joy. There is no joy like the singing of the bird, the skylark, the distant huntsman, or the chirping birds on every tree. There is nothing beautiful like that. Nor sit in a learning's bower. Here, learning's bower is a metaphor for school itself. To sit in a learning's bower, worn through with a dreary shower, he finds the lessons given to him in the class meaningless, dreary, boring, and making you feel unhappy. Showers, they are thrown upon him or poured upon him that he does not like them at all. They are not enjoyable for him. So he's asking a serious question here. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? He's asking. A bird which is naturally born for joy, which is joyful naturally, sings beautifully if it is free. If it flies wherever it wants, then it can sing beautifully. If that bird is caged, put in the cage, how can that sing beautifully? Similarly, how can a child, when fears annoy, when the child is afraid or annoyed by fears, how can he sing? Child is already exhausted now, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring. In this stanza, I would like to pick up two images. The image of a bird and spring. I am going to talk about it in detail little later. So the child, the boy, the schoolboy asks, how can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing? When the child is afraid, is feared, all he would do is to sit in discouragement, drooping his head down. And he would forget his youthful spring. Youthful spring is joyful days will be forgotten. So he's asking, raising some serious questions. O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's distress, the boy complains. How can this happen? If you want to have a big tree, that we must allow it to grow. We must not strip off their buds and blossoms. Let me show you an image very quickly. I'll come back to this. Here, in this image, you can see two trees. Both are banyan trees. But one has grown so tall, large, but another is very small on the left side. That is grown in bonsai method. That is bonsai banyan tree. The another one is natural. It is natural because it was not disturbed. It was given complete freedom to grow as tall as it could towards the sky. Sky is the limit for it. But here, in the bonsai method, it has been carefully designed. Too much of a care is taken. That is the point the child or the boy, the speaker in the poem, is talking about. O father and mother, if birds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day, when they are taken away, if the birds are taken away from a sensitive plant, summer can never be joyful because they are destroyed the earliest, which would not allow the tree to grow to its potential. He is further saying this. How shall the summer rise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? How shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing ear when blast of winter appear? Once again, here I would like to pick two more images, summer and winter. If too much care and concern rule over the boy or a plant, it would never be fruitful. How shall the summer rise in joy? The tree has to be allowed to gather all the potential, gather food, water in autumn, so that it can sustain in summer. It can be green, it can be lively, it can be full of life. But if that is taken away, or if it is hampered by too much of care, what happens? If too much care and concern hamper the plant, flowers, and birds, such a summer will be dry and it will not bear any fruit. The boy asks the parents how to win back. How shall we gather what griefs destroy? How to win back what was destroyed by pain or sadness? How to win back something that was destroyed by grief? And how to overcome all these things? How to be strong? If too much of a care destroyed the early or growing stage of one's life. So if childhood pleasures are taken away or restricted, adult life will be dull and dry. So how shall we gather what they griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing ear? Mellowing ear, autumn, or adult, it is a comparison. It is compared to that. Adult life. How can that be fruitful, joyful, colorful? When a blast of winter appear, when all the troubles come together now, because the tree cannot withstand everything in the winter season, in the later stage of life. Summer, autumn, winter. Summer, young. Autumn, adult. Winter, the third stage of life or later stage of life. If one has to be strong in the later stage of life, early stage of life should be strong, should be stronger. So the boy is asking these questions seriously. Dear friends, as I promised, we'll be taking up some imageries and talk about them in brief so that you will be able to understand the poem or enjoy the poem better. Okay, let me focus on three important images. One, the schoolboy. Two, the bird. Three, the plant. The schoolboy is referred to spring or childhood is referred to spring season, which is a symbol of growth, freshness, joyfulness, playfulness, whatever you call it. Life of a child is that, joyful. It is the period of growth, and it is full of creativity and imagination. It seems that the formal education is something that was not liked by the schoolboy. So he calls cruel eye outworn, a strict supervision, under a strict supervision of a teacher in the classroom. He doesn't like it. Image number 2, the bird. Free child being imprisoned in school, and the free bird imprisoned in a cage. This comparison is made here. Bird and the boy are the same here, because you can see in the first stanza, the skylark sings with me. So there is a freedom for the bird skylark, so it sings. If it is caged, it would not sing. So birds are also images of freedom. A child who is kept in the school, just like a bird in the cage, has no freedom to express himself. Third image, plant. The image of the plant refers to the schoolboy's present and future. Image of the plant refers to the schoolboy's present and future. Young plants or young plant is like a young boy. How the plant is treated in its early stage, that will help the plant to grow. So, too much of a care or too much of a concern, that would destroy the plant. Too much of care, you can see two images here I brought out. Too much of a care, too much of a concern would not allow it to grow strong. Could not withstand any difficulty in future days. So the plant that refers to or stands for present and future of a child. So, dear students, I hope you liked the analysis. If you have any doubt, you can write it in the comment box. I will be in a position to answer you. For next video, we will be taking up some interesting topics. Once again, we will be meeting soon. Until then, bye.